From the time I moved, it only took me like 1 year to actually realize that, whoa, wait a minute, it's like I'm living a double life. I need to change my ways. This is not me. And that actually made me realize that all this time I was serving the God of my parents. I didn't fully, in these 24 years I've lived in the Christian home, I didn't fully develop my own personal relationship with God. That's when I came to a realization that I was serving the God of my parents rather than building my own personal relationship with God.
Testimonies. We all have them, no matter how small or big. I'm on a mission to uncover and share with you faith-based testimonies. As someone who's a big believer that positive testimonies can have an impact on someone's life. I say this because my whole life is a testimony. Join me at Yours, Mine, and Our Testimonies. Let's uncover these journeys together. Welcome to Yours, Mine, and Our Testimonies.
Thank you.
Tell me a bit about yourself. Who are you?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank you. Thank you for having me here. I think that what you got going on is good. It's great, especially for this young generation. But yeah, I just thought I'll just thank you for that. My name is Hervé Kadia. So that's my full name, but I'm also known as Herv HK. That's my artist name. Yeah.
Okay, artist. What type of artist are you?
So I do gospel, motivational, inspirational, rap. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah,
all right. And you've got some hits on YouTube?
Yeah, I think I've released about 3 albums already, and I'm working on my 4th one. Yeah, so I've released 3 albums. Sorry, one of them is Unashamed, All for You, and my recent one, which was in 2023, it's called Lesson. So, and now I'm working on Lesson 2. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'll sure to put the link down in the description. Okay, Hervé, tell me a bit about your background. Where are you originally from? Where did you grow up?
I'm originally from Democratic Republic of Congo. I came to New Zealand. We came to New Zealand when I was 14 years old. That was back in 2006. So I pretty much grew up in New Zealand from the age of 14 until I was age of 28 or 27. Then I moved to Australia, Sydney. So I've lived in Sydney for 6 years, and now I'm in Melbourne. Yeah.
Okay, and how are you finding Melbourne?
Melbourne is okay. It's okay. Apart from the weather changing, day and day. Yeah, I like Sydney better in terms of the weather, but in terms of like I guess like just like price wise, I think Melbourne
is much cheaper, isn't it?
But the weather, not good. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah.
It's not good. Okay. No. So your background. So you're originally from Congo. Did you grow up in a Christian home?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I grew up in a Christian home, where we practice faith just like every other kid who grew up in a Christian home. I guess that we used to like pray together before we go to sleep. I've seen my dad actually, being a leader of the house, where my dad will organize like, fasting and prayer for the house. And I've also seen my mom, sometimes in the middle of the night, she'll wake up and, you hear noise, her praying. And I guess that kind of environment of the house that I grew up in, but before we go to bed, we all used to come together as a family. It doesn't matter whether you're tired or not, and we'll all like sit in the living room watching preaching. And as soon as the preaching finished, and even though some of us used to sometimes fall asleep while watching the preaching, but we'll all watch the preaching and then, pray and then go to bed. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the kind of environment you grew up in.
Yep, yeah, 100%.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up knowing about God. Grew up knowing about Christ.
Yes, I'll say yes. I grew up knowing about God, through my parents. But at that time, I didn't really know whether I knew God for myself.
Okay.
But I felt like at that time it was more like, let's pray, let's fast, let's watch preaching. It was more of like literally sort of like a routine that we all had to follow. But then it was not until later on then I realized that, wow, I needed to build my own personal relationship with God.
Okay. Yeah. Which brings me to my next questions. When did you encounter Christ for yourself?
I think it was when we moved to New Zealand. That's when I actually started knowing more about God. But I already knew God at such a young age because I was brought up in a Christian home. But then I started taking God more serious for myself when I was actually age of 24. I think growing up in a Christian home kind of gave me the advantage to know God at such a very young age. I would say at age of 6 already, I knew that I needed to go to church. I knew God exists. But if we have to speak about me knowing God for myself fully, and I think that will be age of 15. And then to know God, to build my own personal relationship with God at age of 24.
Okay, so what were you doing at the age of 15? What were some of the things that you were doing?
I was serving the church as a choir member. It was more of like school, football, church. And that was literally what I was doing, the routine, home, church, school, soccer. That was pretty much what I was doing at the age of 15.
What made you different from other people at that age?
I guess that just to be able to, have, family who really pushed us into education and also go in the church. So I guess that me be able to just focus on what I wanted to do, playing football and just being in church and studying, that made me different, with other kids, yeah.
Okay. So what was a sin or a stronghold that you struggled with?
Put it this way, I'll take you back at age of 10 to 12. I always used to see my cousin and my friends drinking whiskey at that time. I only knew whiskey and beer. So I also desired to do the same thing, but my cousin always used to stop me because they were older than me. But then there was this particular year, New Year, everyone went out and I asked if I could go with them. And I remember my cousin said yes, we all went out with other friends and they were all drinking. They were older than me, they were all drinking. And then I started drinking with them. And then I remember looking my left and right, there was nobody there. I got drunk and I was walking home and then there was this big light came into my face. And then I found myself in a trench and I woke up, I was drunk. At that time, I knew that was God saved me from actually being hit by a truck. When we came here, I moved out of my parents' house. I got a job in another city and I was 24 years old. So I started going out with my friends, started going out clubbing, and I wanted to see the other side of the world, how everybody was living as a young man, in a new city and everything. I guess that, I started going out and doing other things that knowing well that this was not the path that I should be, taking as a Christian. But yeah, I think that's what I'll call sin for me.
So that was something that you had to battle. So going out,
Yes.
going clubbing.
From the time I moved, it only took me 1 year to actually realize that, whoa, wait a minute, it's like I'm living a double life. I need to change my ways. This is not me. And that actually made me realize that all this time I was serving the God of my parents. I didn't fully, in these 24 years I've lived in the Christian home, I didn't fully develop my own personal relationship with God. That's when I came to a realization that I was serving the God of my parents rather than building my own personal relationship with God.
So you've been going out with your friends, partying, clubbing, and then you had this realization that I can't be doing this life. I can't be serving in the church and be partying and clubbing, living a double life.
Yes.
That's when you realize that you've been serving the God of your parents.
Yes.
And you don't have a relationship with God for yourself.
Not at all. Yeah, that's what literally happened. And I guess that this actually happens with a lot of people. You live in a Christian home and you think you actually know God for yourself. But most of the time it's because you're being told what to do. It's more of a routine things that tell you do this, you do that. But then it's the question is when you leave your parents' house, would you still, would your parents still call you and push you to pray or go to church? Or would you actually, tell yourself that I actually need to open my Bible and read it. I need to go to church. I need to go, Bible, study group and all that. So that was pretty much me. It was like a shift. That whole time, literally, I didn't know a lot of things. I was very innocent in a lot of things. I was very innocent in terms of even relationship and all that. Was very innocent. And imagine for someone who's been living with their parents for that many years, very innocent and coming out, of course, me going to a club and seeing everything that I was seeing was kind of new to me. It
was
made
exciting.
me exactly. Yeah, it was exciting, but of course it didn't last long though until I actually realized that for me it wasn't just about me. It was more of what about these people that actually been looking up to me? You know what I mean? They used to even call me church boy and all that. So I just had to come to a point where I'm this, I gotta put stop to this before I ruin my life. Before anything can happen to me. Yeah.
Okay. So what did you start doing that was different?
I think the first thing that I did, I had to actually remove myself from the environment that I was in. So, and this wasn't just something I just get off the environment. I actually had to tell my friends, a lot of my friends can actually testify on this. I had to tell them, look, I can no longer hang out with you guys, because every time I hang out with you guys, it's either drinking or we're hanging out with girls. So if you want to see me, you can come to my house, because that's my house. I don't allow anything like, drinking or anything. You can come and visit me, but me going to where you guys are, I can no longer do it. So I had to actually remove myself from the environment and then get back and then just focus more on what I was doing, like playing football and serving in the church. And I started actually building healthy environments. I started hanging out more with friends who actually were pushing me towards God. Yeah, that's what I did. And it worked, and later on today, I can tell you a lot of my friends who used to hang out then, now we all actually not doing a lot of Bible study together.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we do Bible study together. Now we talk about God, freely. A lot of us Christian, I think that just like how it says in Romans chapter 12:2, it says they do not be conformed by the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. I think a lot of us Christian, we try to conform by the behavior of our friends and what we see in the world, instead of us actually, portray Christ, in them and not change. But I think a lot of us, we try to change based on what we see in our friend. But then how can we win them if we also trying to conform to their behavior? So yeah, I think that's what I actually start doing. And just like, be me. If you like me as a Christian, good. If you don't like me as your friend, as a Christian friend, then forget about it. I'm just gonna focus on playing football and serving God and hanging out with people that are actually gonna help me grow in my, Christian faith.
Okay. And how did that work out for you?
Oh, it worked out well. And today I can tell you, because a lot of my friends who also saw how my life was going. Today, a lot of my friends, now we do Bible study together. I can talk about God, with them, and it's cool. That's just a perfect example to tell you that you don't need to, live for other people's acceptance. I know, I like one of my favorite rappers, like Christ said, that if you live for people's acceptance, you will die from their rejection. And I think a lot of us, especially this young generation, we want to prove something to people. You know that you don't drink, but because you want to be cool, that like you have this drink and you start drinking, you probably don't hang out with like girls like that. The moment they tell you like, oh, there's girls, don't worry, man, you can just do it once. Once you do it, that's how you get away from God. Yeah.
Looking back at your life right now, you are Hervé HK. You are now married to a beautiful young lady, and you've moved from another state to another state, and you've got your own company. You've got so much going on for yourself. You're a rapper.
Yeah.
What would you tell yourself looking back?
One thing that I'll tell myself is that it's okay to make mistake. It's okay to not look at yourself, your sin as it's too deep for you to come to God. It's okay for you to make mistake and learn from it. Life is not a race. Life is a marathon. With God, you can do so much, but without God, you will do less, and it can lead you to miserable life. So don't look at what other people are doing and thinking that you're late. The fear of missing out, it'll always be there, but just remember that everybody has their own journey. Where you want to get, it might be slow, but don't stop. Keep going and keep pushing, and never leave God outside of your plan. Always include Him in everything that you do, and then everything will work out for your good, for those who love God according to His purpose. And today I can look at myself and be like, you know what, I'm not late. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where God wanted me to be.
Okay. We all have our own testimonies that we go through. What would you tell someone that has gone through something similar to you? What's an advice that you can give someone today?
I would say you don't have to wait until you hit rock bottom to seek God. God is always waiting for you. Find a community that will help you grow in your faith. Be real with Him. You don't have to be perfect to come to Him. And remember that God's love is bigger then you mistake. Stay focused, stay faithful, and never stop seeking God.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being part of this vision. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.